Hello guys and guys, and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make my videos. Now first off, I want to say this is how I make my videos, and this may not be the optimum way you want to record your videos, or may not quite work for you. I say this because every computer is different, and every application that you are recording is different. And that may be a big factor in whether your video turns out good or bad, and I just want to tell you guys that this is how I make my videos with Minecraft and other games that I have on my channel, and this is how it works smoothly for me. Results may differ for you, but I'm about 90% sure this will work for you guys, so this is how I make my awesome videos. Now, first off, I use a program called DxTory to record my game footage, and it's a really awesome program. It works smoothly. It is probably one of those smoothest game recording softwares I've ever used before. As I said before, I've been with DxTory, Fraps, and Bandicam, been through all three, and this is definitely the winner. I love it because it has this option to have distribution hard drive writing. Basically, what that means is most programs like Fraps and Bandicam, they write their file to one file, right? One location, like one place on your hard drive. But what DxTory can do is it can split one frame to one hard drive, another frame to a second hard drive, and a third frame to a third hard drive. And if you have three hard drives, like it shows in this picture right here, it can actually increase your performance by 3 times. Not your game performance, but your recording performance. It can almost triple that just because hard drives are the #1 bottleneck in your recording frame rate, look goodness factor. So that is the #1 bottleneck, and this is a really good way that they approached to sort of solve that. So big props to them. I use one hard drive though, and I will get to that in a second. Another really awesome feature about DxTory is you have dual audio recording. Now most programs like Fraps have this as well, but DxTory does this in its own special way, where it has 3 or 4 audio streams dedicated to each format, and I'll show you what I mean. So you have your video, right? So that goes into the AVI file. But you also have your audio and your voice going in as well. Now, what other programs do is they merge the game audio and your voice audio into one stream. So if you wanted to change just the game audio up, you could not do that without also moving your voice up. But what DxTory does is it creates 2 streams, so it basically puts out 2 audio files inside of that AVI. So you can individually either turn up your voice or turn up your game footage if you wanted to control those separately. It's a really nice feature, and I don't know how many times I've used it, but it's very helpful. So if you guys want to continue with this, I would suggest, whoa, I keep doing that, it's really weird. I would suggest that you go to wherever it says buy, and you click buy now, because this is a really great piece of software, and I don't recommend buying it right this second. Watch till the end of the video to see if you want it yourself. There are a few factors that you may want to look for before buying this. So that is what you need, and let's continue with this tutorial. Okay, so now that you have DxTory, say you open it up and you're greeted with this screen, and you're not quite sure what all this means, but it looks very slick and stuff. So I'm basically going to go over what you need to know about DxTory to get your recording all ready to go. So this is the targeting tab, and basically what's happening here is if you have a video game running in the background, it will show up in this list right here, and it will tell you all the specifications you need to know about it, your name, your PID, your DxTory or DirectX version you're running at, a whole bunch of information. Now, it may not be helpful now, but it will be in certain situations. So it's nice to take a look at and see what it's targeting here, so you know if you're recording the right thing and stuff like that. So let's move over to the overlay tab. Now this is basically, it's going to show your FPS wherever you select it here, so you can select it down there, up here, in the middle, wherever you want your FPS to show. That is where it will show up. So you can change the color of the non-recording status color. So when you're not recording, you can change what it looks like. I will keep mine at yellow. I like to have my recording status at green because green is a nice comfortable color for me. It's I don't like red because it's kind of like warning, warning. Green tells me it's all good, it's going great. You can also change the frame color, so I'll change that. And a whole bunch of awesome stuff you can customize here. Yet again, not really essential to how your videos come out. It's just kind of user preference based. So that will be entirely up to you. Now here we are at one of the bigger tabs. Now basically what's happening here is it's showing where you want to target your videos, where you want your video file to go once you've recorded it. Now I have mine set to a separate hard drive. Now this is very, very, very important. As you can see here, I have my operating system right here, and then I have my 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Black, and that's my D drive. Now it's very important that you record onto a separate hard drive other than your game and your operating system. So you can see my game and my operating system are both on the OS C drive, and I record to a dedicated hard drive that is my Western Digital Caviar Black hard drive. So if I click right here to new recordings, that's where I want all my new recordings to go. So I'm just going to click OK on that, and that's where I want it to go. Make sure again that you have a separate hard drive for that. That is very important. Also, something very important that you might not know is if you are recording to the separate hard drive right here, you need to make sure, you need to hit this run button, and you need to make sure that your megabytes per second is either, I want to say a good 80 megabytes per second or up. If it is not, your videos will not come out smooth at a very decent quality, and you should probably consider getting a dedicated hard drive for that. But that's what I did. I tried this before having a dedicated hard drive, a very fast hard drive, and it did not work out for me at all. I bought the Western Digital Caviar Black, and things have run smoothly from here on out. I had no problems whatsoever. Just open up DxTory and record. So if you're really gonna, focus on video game recordings and stuff like that, make sure you have a good hard drive. That is a very good point to have. Also, what you can do, like I said before, DxTory has the option to record to multiple hard drives. If you click this add button as well, you can also record to your desktop, which is on the other hard drive from my recording hard drive. This is the Western Digital Caviar Black, and this is the one that has my OS on it. So I can split record to those two. I'm not going to go into too much depth because I know a lot of people don't have two hard drives running on their PC, and since this is kind of a getting started tutorial, I don't want to go too in depth on that because most of you probably will not have two hard drives to record to. Now over here, yet again, just make sure you're above 80 megabytes per second. And I don't know if you caught this, but to test that, you hit run right there. Alright, now we're ready to move on. Now these are the buttons that you will press to start your movie capture and stop it. Your screenshot, your high-speed screenshot, all these hotkeys, that's what you're going to be pressing to start your recordings and stuff like that. I have mine set to F19, which is 0x6A for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. I don't know why it showed up like that, but that's not important. So you just set your hotkeys right there. Whatever button you want to push or combinations of buttons you want to push to start your recording, you click that and you input them. Alright, now this is the most important tab in the whole thing. So basically, what you're going to need to do is have a very good codec, a very lossless codec, and a very low intensive codec. If you don't know what that means, this is what it means. A codec is what a program uses to get raw information from your recording and put it into a file. That's basically what a codec does. So the Lagarith lossless codec is what I use. I just downloaded, I think a few seconds ago, the some other codec, and I was going to check it out. But right now, as of the time of this video, I use the Lagarith lossless codec. And that is a very good codec because it has very little compression, so it doesn't require any sort of resources to put out that file. It just goes in, goes out, and without slowing down your game at all. So that is something you want. Now, your mode, depending on how fast your hard drive is, like if it's at 80, if your megabytes per second is about 80, you're going to want to go to YUV2, YUY2. If it's below 80, you're going to want to go all the way down to the lowest mode. And if you're really high up there, like, 120-ish, you can go RGBA. But there's no real need for it. All it adds is an alpha channel, and if you know what that is, that's what that does. If not, you can Google alpha channel and you can find out yourself. It's basically supporting transparency and stuff. But as for me, I record on RGB. It's fine right there. There's actually really no need to go up to RGBA. It will just slow down your machine. Right here, I have enabled null frames. You can read that if you want to know what it is. Read that, and read that, and read that. That's basically what I have, and you can basically check what I have and mess around with these all you want to. I'm not going to go too in depth. You cannot change any of these, so you don't have to worry about them. If you want to download the Lagarith lossless codec, I will put a link in the description, or you can Google it for yourself. And it'll just be a little installer. You install that, and then you may have to restart DxTory to see it show up in this list. That's why my new codec isn't in there, because DxTory was running before I installed the new codec, so it's not in there. A little FYI there. Now, I record at 40 frames per second because I think it looks a lot smoother than just 30. I don't know why. But I would definitely go down to 30 if you have a slower hard drive. Yet again, it will really help you out, and there won't be much of a difference. I just like 40 because it's nice and clean. YouTube actually limits your uploads to 30, so if you upload something more than 30 frames per second, it will cut it down to 30. So a little FYI there for you as well. So I would just go down to 30. I like 40. Personal preference. So if you go down here to file output, you want to have file output checked unless you're doing a live stream, in which case you will click direct show output. Now also, okay, make sure you have file output selected for all other cases except for live streaming. So down here, it has AVI and raw cap. Now, raw cap is if you have two hard drives right here. If you have one, make sure you click AVI. Otherwise, you won't know what to do with this. And yet again, I'm not going to go into too much depth on raw cap or multi-hard drive distribution. So down here under option, we have include mouse cursor, which I like to keep on just because of personal preference. Also, we have synchronize video FPS. Now, what this means is that whatever your file is being recorded at, so say this may happen if you have this unclicked. You hit the record button and everything looks super smooth, like your game's running nice, you're super smooth going, super speed, awesome, your game may look nice, and then in some cases, you look over to your video after you're done, and it's been recorded at like 10 frames per second. And you're like, whoa, how did that happen? And you're all bummed because you thought it was all good. The reason behind that is we may have a slow hard drive. But if you want to monitor how your video is going to look, I would recommend hitting Synchronize Video FPS, because that will limit your game frame rate to whatever is being recorded to the file. So if your video is going to turn out all laggy, your game will be all laggy, and that is a good thing because it'll let you know before you record the whole thing and then go back and get all bummed out because the video is no good. So I like to keep that on just as a little notifier. And also down here to scaling. Also, this is a big thing you want to change if you have a slower hard drive. I would bring that down to about 75 or 80 if you have something below 80 megabytes per second on your hard drive. I like to record at about 90-ish percent, or I like to go over here and hit 1280 by 720. That is 720p HD. You could also, if you have a really good hard drive, you could go up to 1920 by 1080. And I didn't type that in correctly. 1080. And that is for some extreme users out there. I like to go at 720. Ooh, hello. 720 by 12. No, sorry, my bad. Hold on. 720 and 1280. 1280. Now keep in mind, if you do the size and your game is playing at something bigger than that size, it will actually crop it. It will actually crop the sides out. Say I had 1270, then 10 pixels would be cut off the sides. So I'll put it up to 1280. Just make sure your game's running at 1280 by 720 or the same aspect ratio, otherwise the sides may get cut off. Also, you can play around the clipping. It's basically cropping the sides out. Not a big deal. I don't use it because I don't need it. If you don't want to have to worry about, figuring out your aspect ratio and worrying if the sides are getting cropped off or anything, you can always just go over to percent, and that will scale whatever you have. But I like having direct numbers. That is sort of my thing, so I will keep that. Alright, so we have the main tab out of the way, and let's just go check out audio here. Now this is very important as to if your voice is going to be recorded and your game is being recorded. So like I said before, DxTory records to 2 streams. One here is my microphone in my setup, and 2 here is my speakers in my setup. So I have number 1 at my microphone because it's the most important. And some editing programs, can't handle 2 streams, and they will only read the first one. So in that case, I like to put my microphone first because my talking is more important than my speakers. So I always keep that safe. If I had my number 2 before my 1, my speakers before my voice, if your editing program can't support 2 channels, then it will only be the game footage. So that is basically, what will happen and why I have that first. Yet again, if you know your video editing program can handle it, it doesn't really matter what order it is in. It just matters that you have them both there. So now that that's out of the way, let's take a look. So you can uncheck record sound or uncheck it. I want my sound to be recorded, so I check it. I want to select my device, and in this case, it's my microphone. And you can select your volume. Keep mine at 100% because I like that full sound. And then I take my this is what I use. I haven't really experimented much, but I put mine up to layer 3 codec and up to the top of the list. Now make sure that both of these audio streams, if you want them to be in sync, you have to hit MPEG layer 3 codec and the same exact settings, the same exact codec and audio format for both of these. So as you can see, I both have them at 320 kilobits per second, 48 hertz stereo. So I have them both on the same settings. It just may look a little bit different because the volume meter is going away and it's shifting it, but they are the same settings. So that is what my this is what my voice looks like, and then I go over here. I hit the plus button to add it. I already have it, so that's how you add it, and then you go over to number 2, and then you select speakers or whatever your noise is coming out through. If you don't have headphones on, you can click your digital output. Basically, whatever's putting out your game sound, that's what you want to click there. And yet again, if you have more audio streams, you can go ahead and add like crazy. I only have 2, so that's all I need. Alright, now this is the screenshot. You wouldn't be watching this video if you wanted to know what this was. So it's basically for video recording. So I'm not gonna mess around with that, but you can feel free to set up whatever you want here. So also you have here a whole bunch of settings. I haven't yet again messed around with any of these. For CPU processing, if you have a really good CPU, I I still wouldn't check that because it puts all the load of this program on your CPU instead of spreading out between your graphics card and your CPU. So that's if you have a really powerful CPU, you can check that and it'll basically put all the load on your CPU. I would not recommend that personally. You can also limit your game FPS right there. I don't know, I have that checked. Oh, it's to basically my graphics card flipped out there when I checked it. Basically make sure your resources aren't being used in vain. So if you have more than 50, that's just basically going to waste because you don't really see more than 50 frames per second. So yeah, it's basically a way of, keeping resources where they belong. Options here, you can basically play around with those all you want. And you have DxTory. So yeah, there you go. That's the full guide to DxTory right there. And next up, I will be looking at how I edit the videos, and yeah, so I will see you guys in the part. I don't know how I'm going to split this up, but I will see you guys in the next part on how I edit my videos. Alright, one file, right? One location, like one place on your hard drive. But what DxTory can do is it can split one frame to one hard drive, another frame to a second hard drive, and a third frame to a third hard drive. And if you have 3 hard drives, like it shows in this picture right here, it can actually increase your performance by 3 times. Not your game performance, but your recording performance. It can almost triple that just because hard drives are the #1 bottleneck in your recording. Your recording frame rate, look goodness factor. So that is the #1 bottleneck, and this is a really good way that they approached to sort of solve that. So big props to them. I use one hard drive though, and I will get to that in a second. Hello guys and guys, and welcome to another video. And today I want to be showing you how I make my videos. Now first off, I want to say this is how I make my videos, and this may not be the optimum way you want to record your videos, or may not quite work for you. I say this because every computer is different, and every application that you are recording is different. And that may be a big factor in whether your video turns out good or bad, and I just want to tell you guys that this is how I make my videos with Minecraft and other games that I have on my channel, and this is how it works smoothly for me. Results may differ for you, but I'm about 90% sure this will work for you guys, so this is how I make my awesome videos. Now first off, I use a program called DxTory to record my game footage, and it's a really awesome program. It works smoothly. It is probably one of those smoothest game recording softwares I've ever used before. As I said before, I've been with DxTory, Fraps, and Bandicam, been through all 3, and this is definitely the winner. I love it because it has this option to have distribution hard drive writing. Basically what that means is most programs like Fraps and Bandicam, they write their file to one